And away we go with the Warchant Happy Hour. Happy Libations Friday to those that are here at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and those that are watching on Warchant TV. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Pound the hell out of that like button, baby. Make sure everybody knows
subscribe and like it. You've got to subscribe and like it.
So, hey, listen, we are on the Wi-Fi. We'll see if this works. The hard line is down. We're doing the Wi-Fi here. Cheers, buddy.
This is some sweet nectar.
You're feeling good on a Friday, right?
Yeah. It's so bad. I mean, not many people can drink this much Mick Ultra in one.
Oh, you can with the quickness.
Oh, man. I was born different. I was born different.
You've always had the ability. You should show how fast you can drink it.
Let's slow down. Buddy. It was a long night last night watching that debacle.
No, but it should have been easy on your constitution.
Well, it was after it got to 6-2. I'm like, well, that's a wrap. And they literally pitched a guy I never heard of. I didn't know who D. Lee was. I don't know what his first name is.
Came over from the Marlins.
Yeah, I didn't know him.
I knew him.
Yeah, so that's when I knew that the ship had sailed. But we're not here to talk about the Braves. That's tomorrow.
Oh, we are.
We're here to talk about the Noles. Big dub coming up on Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think you can. I know people get nervous about this.
Spread's 35.
35.5.
Would you play that at all? How would you play it?
I played the over.
Okay. You actually did play it.
I did play it. Well, not on my personal card, but on the show, I did the over.
Oh, all right.
I said if I had to play this game, I'd take the over. I think the over was 60. The over-under was 60, so I'd go over.
Okay.
I said, what was your score prediction, buddy? We all did.
I don't remember. I did it off the fly. I think it was like 51-13 or something.
I did 58-10.
Okay. Well, wouldn't that be something if Florida State beat a team by 48 points?
Well, and I was going to bring this up because you often, I won't say constantly, often complain about that.
Ad nauseum, some would say.
That they don't get those kinds of wins around here, and they haven't for some time. But, my friend, this could be that win. There you go.
Wouldn't it be it'd be a bad sign if there wasn't a win like that, I think. If you won like 40-20 or 40-27.
40-20 would bother you?
Yes, a lot.
Well, okay, let's define our terms of what will bother you. A 40-20 win is on the record as
how about it's about the 20? If they score like 3 touchdowns against your first team defense, that's not good. They haven't done that against anyone.
What if they run 85 plays?
Well, sure, but if you got a big lead in the fourth quarter and you're playing all your young guys in your third and they score, that's fine. But if it's a game in the third quarter, that's a bad sign.
Starters against starters and they're playing you equal, that would be a very bad sign. I don't think that's going to happen though, Corey. I mean, if you've had the good fortune of sitting down and cozying up to watch a UMass game, I got to tell you, that is as bad as it gets. Well, maybe not. UConn would be worse because
UMass just stomped UConn.
Yeah. So that would be
get you some. Who's there? He's not their coach anymore.
He left. Well, they quit on him.
Paul Pasqualoni. What's his name?
No, that's the former Syracuse coach.
Randy Edsel.
Yeah. I like that we got a Paul Pasqualoni reference out here. My man's 77 years old, retired on the beach. You look like, what's going on here?
Yeah, Pasqualoni can't get it done.
I would have never gotten beat like that, Corey. So I would just say this: if you watch them, it's ineptitude, man. It should be bigger, stronger, faster. Wins the day.
Well, and me and Aslan and I talked a lot about just to be grammatically correct, talked a lot about this game and what Walt Bell will do in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if he empties the kitchen sink. Right? He's back. He's back in his stomping grounds. He had a lot of great moments here. You guys remember? I don't know, that throw to Terry against Boston College. That was probably his best moment as a Florida State coach.
One of my favorite moments was when I asked him what his role was.
Yeah.
And he did a long diatribe about nothing.
Yeah.
And he circled back. He goes, well, and I guess at the end of what I tell you is that I don't really know.
And that was in August. That was in August. Yeah. They weren't still sure who was going to be calling plays and how that
wasn't sure
flow was going to go. Sure.
At the end, what he did was he basically said, I'll acquiesce to Willie and whatever he wants me to do. I was like, okay, so no defined role.
Yeah.
No, none. Yeah. What about on game day? Nope, none.
Yeah, it's fine. You wear a headset, but
I'll be here.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he has some cool plays early. Gonna empty the sink, show all the Florida State fans this is what you could have had. This is what he could have had along with Sam Howell. Yeah. But then they just shouldn't be able to run at all. I mean, they should get mauled up front. Like Florida State isn't great on defense. They're good on the defensive line. Yeah, they're very good on the defensive line, and they should mollywop UMass's offensive line.
Good use of mollywop.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah. Ever since you adapted it, I've been celebrating your usage of mollywop. I
dated a girl named Mollywop. Sorry.
We're going to keep moving. There were a lot of jokes there. But so the point would be this should not be, agreed, much of a contest, and the front four should dominate. I agree. What do you want to see from Jordan Travis?
You know, that's another thing. So this will be the only time since Jordan Travis has been a college quarterback where he can treat it almost as if he's wearing a green jersey. Like, they should be able to block those guys well enough that he can feel confident in the pocket and go through progressions. And that's what I want to see. It's UMass. It's not Clemson. Obviously, next week's going to be a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. But I want to see him go through progressions. I want him to stand tall in the pocket, trust those tackles, not break out.
I do too.
Because, look, he could run for 250 yards against UMass if he wanted.
Yeah,
but you're not about that.
No, we already know you can do that.
He needs to stand in the pocket and make some throws like he made against North Carolina. The one to Helton on 3rd and 6 on the crossing route where he stood there.
About it every day, man.
So that's what you want to see, right? Because I don't think he's ever gone into a game, ever, confident that it could be blocked up like this one. So I want to see what he looks like as a confident quarterback, not thinking he's going to have to be running for his life.
So, the game clearly slowed down for him a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And that was the first time that I saw evidence of it. First time that I ever saw evidence that he was willing to stand there, let a play progress. And actually, let's be honest, what they've done with him in the passing game is they've been able to dial up shot plays based off of his legs, so they roll him out and then he's able to hit that, all that stuff. But that was the first time I saw him hanging out, ready to throw the ball. Guy's not open, go to his second.
Yeah.
That is the first time we've seen that from him. If he does that again, that would mark 2 games in a row.
And it's UMass, so you got to take it with a grain of salt, but it's still big. It still develops confidence.
For the maturation process.
It develops confidence. And if he can do that, and look, he can still, I think they're going to ride and die with the running game.
They should.
But it would be nice to know that could be in there. And that wasn't just a one-game anomaly, but that's actually what he can be. That's what he can grow into being.
I'm rooting for it, too. But, it's weird, too, even though we chalk this up as a win against a vastly inferior opponent. A 3-game win streak, Corey, is seldom seen around these parts, buddy. Yeah, these days.
I think it's 16 was the last time they had a 3-game winning streak.
3-game win streak is comforting.
And then next week you make it 4?
Clemson Pitt game is going to be fun.
They're without one of their receivers, right?
They may be without COVID. 3 of their receivers.
Well, they don't throw to them anyway.
Well, I would just say this. With the absence of your top receiver, you're now talking about a game in which you're an underdog on the road without your best receiver.
Yeah.
And there is talk that their second best receiver may miss this game as well. You just hate it for him, Corey. You just really, your heart aches.
I think we all feel bad for Dabo.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Wuhan's up against it, buddy.
It's tough for him. It's been a tough year, tough couple years. So you just hope he rights the ship.
He's got to be standing on the sideline thinking about 2 things. 1, coronavirus is not real.
Sure.
2, he's got to be thinking to himself, I went to 6 straight playoffs.
Yeah.
And now look at us.
Probably now I'm an underdog to Pitt. Now let's not dance on their grave yet. We don't want to do that yet. Let's see him lose this week. Let's see him lose tomorrow. Then we can do a little dancing. And then I'm running down the hill on Saturday. You won't be there, but I'm going to be in Death Valley.
I would love to be there to document it.
Just me running down the hill?
Yeah. Shirtless?
Shirtless. I don't know. I'll probably have an undershirt on, Jeff. I'm not going to go crazy.
Yeah. You don't want to embarrass other men that are there.
Sure.
So I would just tell you this. If you get the opportunity to run down the hill, don't tear that ACL because it's happening. Yeah. You and I both stood at the bottom of that hill.
Yes.
We've both
It's
watched.
a steep incline.
Seriously, I keep waiting for one of their linemen to go down
and take 20 out with them.
Oh, it'd be great. I've always rooted for it.
It's crazy.
Every time they come down the hill, I'm like, take these sons of bitches out.
It's like I always root for at the home run derby, all those kids in the outfield. One of them just getting smashed.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Okay.
Every time I see those kids in the outfield, I want a kid to miss it and get hit in the head. I do.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make sense. Well, who are they? Why are they out there?
Yeah,
why are they out there?
And they can't catch.
No, I know.
It drives me nuts. I'm like, catch the ball.
So maybe that'll happen against Florida State. Half their team will.
Well, no, I want to. Yeah, that's true. I've rooted for it every time I see them come down the hill and the stupid rock and all that stuff. I want to fall and take other people out. But my point is, I don't want you.
Hey man, I'll do it for the team. If they beat Clemson, I'm running down the hill.
Hard anywhere you hurt yourself.
I did. I pulled my my hamstring exploded, but I won the race.
It's all the fast twitch.
I won the race. She thought she was faster than me, and she was wrong.
Yeah,
I won.
Yeah, you showed her.
Oh.
Damn her calling you out like that.
Yeah. Hey, she said I was the worst athlete in the newsroom.
11 o'clock at night.
She got a lesson.
At the Civic Center.
Well, the problem is the Civic Center parking lot is a little bit
that's
inclined.
what it was.
Yeah,
That's what it
if it
was.
was straight, it'd have been fine. It's a little bit of an incline, and
you'd have cruised across the line, the
skinned
imaginary line.
skinned up everything, and blew
I
my
would have
hamstring
given
out.
something to be there to watch that and hear the sounds of you hitting the pavement and rolling.
And I just rolled. It was crazy. I still rolled across the finish line before her.
Did she laugh, or was she mad that you beat her?
Both. A little bit of laugh. I think she felt like she won after that, though.
I would have thought.
I think
we
she
all won
Yeah.
watching you bust ass.
That was not a good day. It was not a good look.
What you did during the bye week? Watch a lot of Braves. Stay locked in on your Bravos.
Yeah, went to the Georgia game. Watched them play Kentucky. And I brought this up on headlines. Like, Travis Hunter was there. Brady wanted to go down and say, can't wait to see you at Florida State. But he was there walking around, limping around in his boot. And I brought this up. So it was number 1 versus number 11. And it was
not even a better crowd.
90,000 people there. And it was not, in my opinion, it wasn't close to the atmosphere for Florida State, Notre Dame. Now, Florida State, Louisville, yeah, it passed that, and it is a cool scene. The tailgating is, it's the number 1 team in the country, 2 undefeated teams. But I'm telling you, if Travis Hunter is looking for an atmosphere, the one he experienced against Notre Dame is better than the one he experienced with the game day game with 2 undefeated teams and the number 1 versus number 11 team in the country. So that could bode well for some other guys too. Like, they've seen Doak in its splendor. They've seen Doak in all its glory in a close game in the fourth quarter where that place was going nuts. They got to experience that.
It was a calculated risk by the coaching staff to believe that certainly they'd come out and play well, that it would be a game in the fourth quarter, that the atmosphere wouldn't be waning, because obviously if they had done that and had all those kids come in to that game and then got beat 41-7,
yes,
that'd have been a bad look. So they felt good about it. They ended up fighting. It probably couldn't have gone any better than it did. Overtime, the whole deal.
Right. Well, except maybe a dub. Get that dub.
Right. I'm just talking about the sustainability of that atmosphere.
Yeah, and the energy that was in it. No offense, Jordan, but when McKenzie Milton hit those 2 passes right when he came in,
was huge.
That's as loud as that place has been. And who knows?
Since the Oklahoma game, maybe.
Probably.
Probably
maybe the 13
game.
Miami game.
Yeah.
That was a pretty energetic crowd. But like that was Doak in
that Oklahoma game
glory.
back then was really high on the list. You and I were talking earlier today because we had a staff meeting. We were talking about perhaps doing some features in the off season, and we were talking about players we'd want to talk to for big moments. And Marvin Jones,
our big hits, big plays in Florida State history.
I was trying to think of, and you and I again been coming to the games for probably about the same amount of time, late 70s, early 80s for me. And
so I'm not as old as you, so a little later for me.
Yeah. What are you, 6 years younger than me? 5 years younger than me?
Yeah, but I'm younger than you. That's all that matters. I'm younger than you. I might not look it, but I am. That's what I care about.
I'm not being defensive. I'm just trying to get a gauge for when you started coming to games.
I am 5 years younger than you. My first game in Doak was 84.
Okay. So, mine was before yours.
It was the Auburn 42-41 game.
There you go.
Tough one.
But I will just say that there were some loud games back then. There was the Miami 26-25 game in 86 was crazy.
Yeah, and the 24-10 dropping the penalty on his head with 89 when Dexter Carter scores on the first play. So that was loud. I think the 98 Florida game was one of the loudest ones ever because of what Florida had done to the previous 3 years.
Yeah.
But that I think that Notre Dame game is up there. It's probably not. It's not over Oklahoma.
It's not over Oklahoma. It's not over
Miami,
the FSU Miami game.
Or the choke at Doak in the fourth quarter. But it was a
Here's
great
the thing:
atmosphere.
the choke at Doak in the fourth quarter was not that loud
compared
to what we're talking about.
When it became like realistic that it could happen.
Yeah.
And then Colsey makes the interception.
One of the great interceptions of all time.
An incredible interception.
That pick is awesome.
Yeah.
We could watch that over and over again.
It's a great. We'll get him on. We'll break down
that's a legitimately incredible pick.
Yeah.
Like I've watched that a million times.
The game-tying touchdown?
Do I remember who did?
Yeah.
Tom, you're free to talk.
That was Rock Preston, wasn't it?
Rock Preston.
Preston. He took his helmet off. He took his helmet off. They didn't care in those days.
Yeah, they couldn't do whatever he wanted. He took his helmet off and danced.
Yeah,
I just remember Zach Crockett scoring the touchdown to make it 31-10.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Zach Crockett was roommates with William Floyd, who my friend. And so
your great friend.
He is. And so when that happened, I remember I was like, oh, that's my boy's roommate. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, even though it was 31-10. And yeah.
Well, by the way, that touchdown for me and a lot of other people is the reason that people didn't leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that possession, I'll give you a true story. That possession, I'm sitting with my father, and my dad is locked in, and we're getting an ass beating.
Yeah, it's 31-3.
And I'm young, so I'm like, man, I'm going to go drink. Because we're just getting ass kicking against these guys.
This isn't fun. Nobody's enjoying this.
Nobody wants to enjoy this. I'm gonna go start drinking. And my dad's like, well, hold on. So let's see what happens right here. Let's just see if they score.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, it's 31-3. He's like, just let's see. And Zach scored and did that.
Yeah.
And then I remember 31-10. I'm like, all right.
They picked up a 4th down on that drive,
yes,
too.
They did. And then I remember thinking, okay, well, let's see what happens. And then stupid-ass Steve Spurrier decides to throw the ball every time. I'm like, what are you doing? He keeps throwing the ball.
And I think
incomplete passes, stopping the clock. I'm like, here we go.
And the next drive that Florida State scored on was 3 plays.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, okay, it was 31-3. It's 31-17. There's still 10 minutes left.
Have you ever listened to the Brent Musburger call?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's an all-time great call. Musburger nails it all the way through. It's almost like he was a Florida State fan, or he might have had a little paper.
Yeah, I assume he had Florida State with the points.
He got really excited about Florida State coming back. I mean, he did. He went from all of a sudden, this is mildly amusing, to, oh, what do we have here?
We got to come back on our hands.
He's sitting up. And I didn't know it back then. I didn't realize Brent was always a degenerate gambler, because until you're into gambling, you don't necessarily pick up on the code words.
Are you a degenerate gambler or just a gambler? What's the difference?
Oh, well, people like to throw around degenerate, but I'm a man who.
I never hear degenerate in any other context but gambling. Like, I'm not a degenerate eater or a degenerate drinker.
Well,
what's the deal with gambling? That it's always, if you do it, you're a degenerate.
Yeah, it was always labeled as such, right? But I would say,
so you're a degenerate.
You could use. I suppose that I'm a degenerate gambler.
But does degenerate mean you lose a lot?
No.
Okay. So if you're winning, there's nothing degenerate about that.
Correct.
Yeah. You're just a good gambler.
I'm a really good gambler.
You're
and I
smart.
would also tell you that also just having control, like being a person, an adult.
Yeah.
Who's making choices for themselves, like whatever, man. I mean, what do you care?
Yeah.
It's my money.
Yeah.
But
it's only a gambling problem if you lose.
Yeah. What I would tell you is that until you get locked in as a gambler, you don't notice other people who are gambling, because you don't. So you don't hear the terminology the same way. But once you do start gambling, you can spot other gamblers immediately.
Yeah.
It could just be a look. It could just be the way they're watching a certain game. I had a guy lean over to me. I'm watching now, admittedly. It's a Thursday, and it's like the Lipton Tea Open, and I'm locked in.
Oh, well, that is, I guess that's the definition of degenerate.
Yeah, and the guy,
but
here's my favorite part. So I was at a bar getting food to go. It's a Thursday evening. This is years ago.
Of the Lipton Open?
Yeah, I made that up.
It's
just
it a tennis or a golf tournament?
It's a golf tournament. It's a nothing golf tournament, and it's one of the tournaments on the wraparound that nobody cares about. It could have been whatever. Okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and this guy at the end of the bar was looking over at me, and I'm feeling uncomfortable the way he's looking over. He just keeps looking over like I did something wrong.
Right.
I've offended him in some way, and I keep looking back, and then finally he just leans over. He goes, "Got some money on this?" And I remember realizing in the moment, I must be so fucking obvious that this guy in the middle of the afternoon on Thursday is like, "Got some money on this?"
Why else would you care unless you're related to the golfer?
In on this thing, right? And so I said, "I do." He goes, "Who do you got?" And I named the 3 golfers that I had in the pool, and he's like, "So you bet on every tournament?"
Fuzzy Zeller? How long ago are we talking?
No, wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
No, it was a few years ago. So then he goes, "Do you do it every week?" I go, "Every week, buddy." He's like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. He wasn't judging me at all. He was trying to see if I was him, and he was me.
Mm-hmm. And he knew it.
And he knew it.
He could tell. Yeah, you can tell. I guess you can tell.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question here? Jeff, on my way to Vegas.
You got to talk into the mic, buddy.
3-game parlay. Oh, my Lord.
Eric Johnson wants a 3-game parlay on his way to Vegas.
I usually don't bet parlays. That's death.
Noles, the over in the Florida State game? Are you taking that one?
Let me pull this up. I'll give you something. Keep talking, Corey. I'm going to give my man something.
All right, well, you want me to do a play-by-play of what you're doing? You're on the Google right now.
I just pulled up. What did I pull up here? You want to do this?
Some 3 red dots. Doesn't look like anything's loading.
What is that?
Sorry, buddy. The DraftKings.
Little,
you're logging in. Okay.
Logging into my DraftKings account.
Okay, you want me to just pull up your Redemption Thursday card?
Well, I don't want to
combine 3 of those.
I don't want them to parlay that necessarily.
Right. You don't feel good. See, you don't give the people the real juice.
I don't bet my card every week on air. I mean, I got games on there that's just for fun. I'm going to give him a 3-team teaser.
Okay.
Let's get to the football here. Yes, I'll take one too.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right, here we go. NFL 3-team teaser pleaser. I think I can do this for you. Let's go with the Packers and give to the Washington football teams.
What's that spread? 6, 8?
8, but I'm going to get it down to under 3.
Hey, speaking of the Washington football team, Chris Thompson's got signed to a practice squad. Maybe the Bears practice squad, but he's back in the league.
That right?
So that's cool. Yeah, it was cool to see Chris Thompson. One of my all-time favorite guys to cover at Florida State. Great human being.
One of the great kids. Really good kids. I'm almost there with you, brother. Okay, so I'm going to give you a 2-teamer. I can't give you a 3-teamer. Here's what we're going to do.
Take the Hawks.
So we're going Packers. We're going to tease it down to -2 instead of -8. And we're going to tease the Patriots down against the sorry-ass Jets from 7 to 1. It's a 2-team pleaser. So that will, let me just put this in. I'm going to give you a roundabout number. If you bet $25, you'll obviously bet more because you're a grown-up. But if you took the $25 and bet it, you're betting 25 to win 49. So, something like that. And then just use whatever money you want to bet.
There you go. And then just thank Jeff next week. Or I guess for the next home game.
You could do that. But you've got to combo those two and get it down. Yeah, there it is. You did it. Nice one. 2-team teaser. You're welcome. Arizona Noles. There you go.
I mean, I don't know how that doesn't hit. That's going to hit.
That's going to hit, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's straight up. That's
Packers -2. Come on, man. They're going to beat
money.
them by 10 points,
That's
15
easy money.
points.
So there you go. I just gave you a 2-team
And what about
teaser.
the Braves? You got any thoughts on the Braves winning tomorrow night?
You kind of got to win tomorrow, right?
Well, they kind of had to win last night. That was what was a little bit disappointing about it. Like, you had your best guy going.
So I think what's weird is that I told you I said on the air after the Bellinger home run that I sadly thought the Braves had just lost the series.
Yeah.
Like you blow a 4-run lead.
Yeah, and they showed a little what for by coming back the next night.
Turn around and stomp them. And so then I said, okay, it's a different year. It's a different time. Well,
don't wait. So
no, I still think
I you know what I do too.
Yeah, I know you do.
I do.
Deep
I really
down in
do.
your
I
heart,
think they're going to win this year.
You're a believer, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win the World Series, but I think they're going to beat the Dodgers. I feel it. I don't know why. I feel it.
My man, bet it. Eric, bet it. There you go. Good job, Eric. Let's have a beer together if you win, buddy. I don't know how responsible that is of me.
1-800-WARCHANT-BETS.
Yeah,
1-800-WARCHANT-BETS.
take them all.
I do host a gambling show, College Sportsbook, everybody. So I would just tell you that I watched that resounding victory for the Braves, and I said, oh, this is a different team. This is a different team right here. But then last night when you lost,
looked like the old Braves.
I went, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
But
your best guy gives up 5 hits in a row. You have a 2-0 lead.
I got to tell you, Bryce, who's fairly indifferent about both teams, has taken on your cause. He's
Okay, good, man. I appreciate that, Bryce. Well, that's something we haven't had in the past. We haven't had Bryce Cameron rooting for the Braves, so that might be the difference.
True. Travis writes, we're going to kick some UMass. Appreciate that, and thanks for the contribution.
Just get to 50 points. You think Chuba? Who do you play? You got to play McKenzie a couple of reps, right?
You don't have to.
Just for, I mean, he's here.
Oh, it's insulting.
That's not insulting.
It's insulting
fine.
to him.
You get him some reps. Get him some reps unless Travis goes
does he
down.
need reps?
I don't know. I just think if you get a big enough
You're not
lead.
playing him the rest of the year.
When's the last time they played a quarterback because a second string quarterback because they had a big lead?
Somebody?
So like Alabama State or something, or one of those teams from like 8-19 when Odell was coaching.
Yeah, it would have been. Thank you very much.
That has to be it.
I am curious about that. You're right.
It's been forever.
What happens is when the losses begin to mount,
That's one of the reasons
decide not
Florida
to
State
invest.
in the 90s. I mean, they had great talent, but they also
Derby
got to
offense,
play
buddy?
it. But they all
Remember that?
that was dumb. But they
No, but
also
it was fun.
Sure, but I mean,
But it
only
was dumb.
think about the hubris it takes. You know, talk about hubris.
Arrogance in a way.
We're playing Clemson.
Remember the Georgia Tech interception because of that hubris?
Pick six, made it a game.
I know. All of a
It was
sudden, made it a game
ridiculous.
for no reason. Yes,
But
I was at said game.
they had talent, obviously, but they also got some of those guys would play
Bobby Dodd
a
was
half.
electric.
It was after that. After I was there after Outson
I
threw
was
that
too.
stupid pick.
And it was like slow motion as soon as it left his hand. I was like, "You sorry ass."
Just get it to Travis Minor and get off the field.
Go. Yeah. Go.
But they get to play. They got to play all those guys who would get 25, 30 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Like our guy, the safety, Shaheem Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hasn't gotten to play at all this year. So he hasn't gotten to develop, at least in games. And this would be a good time to see Shaheem Brown in a game because I think he's got a chance to be something. But he hasn't gotten a
really good player.
He hadn't gotten a. He's played like 12 snaps
So
this year.
let's circle back then because I think it's important to understand this. If you're going to do that, Corey, then you're going to see some points given up because they're going to make mistakes.
No, I'm saying get a big enough lead that you can do that. Don't do what you did Jacksonville State and just start sprinkling in guys because you're going to win. Play it like you're playing Clemson. Get up 35 points and then get your chance out there to play. Get your kids out there to play, man.
Yeah. What's the number when you begin to play the young guys? How big is the lead got to be for you?
56. That's when I trust it.
I think it's probably
I would say 35.
Somewhere in the 30s,
yeah,
right?
I think 35.
30s. Yeah, do that. Hello, Garrett.
That's what I would do. If they get up 35, if they're up 35 at half, let Travis have one more drive, maybe, and then get everybody off the field. Everybody, and it's not just you don't want to suffer injuries. What if Jermaine Johnson's out there in a 38-3 game and gets called for targeting?
Well, moreover, that just he doesn't need to be out there.
There's the targeting you always worry about too. You'd hate to get a targeting call and miss the first half in a game that's already won.
Don't you talk this into being, Corey. You're not allowed to even bring it up.
Sorry,
like
Jermaine. See what you hit, or hit what you see, buddy. Hit what you see, Jermaine.
I'm going to do this for you because Tom and I did it this week on the Jeff Cameron show. So I want to do this with you, Corey. All right, you ready? Let's see what you're.
What are we looking at here?
You're an optimistic guy.
Yeah.
So
we're looking at the schedule.
You ready? UMass with a win, right?
Dub, yeah.
Okay. Clemson?
No.
Okay, 1-1. NC State?
Yes. I know you. You think that Clemson's an easier game than NC State at home. They're both.
I think they're both tough games for Florida State.
I think you're going to win one of them. If that
happens, buddy.
Corey Durden might sabotage because he feels bad for leaving.
I would be euphoric, but I don't think they would either one.
He might start tackling his own guys and opening up huge holes. Cyrus Fagan.
You're picking a win there, right?
I'm picking. Yes. I'm picking a win.
So I have them losing that game too. I have a speedy Miami.
Yeah, man. And how about that vote of confidence their AD gave today? Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
He said he's still the coach for now. We need some wins.
Call it a day.
Manny knows we need some wins.
Manny.
2-4 is not good enough.
No.
He would not talk about the end of the season. And if he'd be the coach at the end of the season, he just want to focus on the now. They could easily be 4-2.
You saw the far
but they're 2-4.
Well,
but he's like he basically
could have lost to App State.
Yes, that was the point that the people in the Twitter thread brought up. But so he said that he's the coach for now. That was not the vote of confidence that Manny was probably looking for. So he's dead coach walking, especially if they lose. Well, I mean, they might lose. They should lose both these games coming up. They got NC State and Pitt back to back before they play Florida State. So if they're 2-6 with an interim coach, that team might have just packed it. You might be favored by 10 points in that game. You might be a double-digit favorite.
Let's see how we play.
Well, you're going to be coming off. Florida State will be coming off the big win against NC State at home.
I see.
And so they'll be 4-5. With Miami makes it 5-5.
Whoa, dare to dream! We're talking about a bowl game.
And then you got out BC.
Hey, listen. Then you're going up to Boston. Then you're going up to Boston with a chance to become bowl eligible.
You can win that, man.
The owner of Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is here, ladies and gentlemen, smiling.
Bill. Good old Bill, smiling Bill.
Drinks to everybody. It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody get up here.
Quick, race up here.
Bill set us on the house.
And the second you walk in, you may just make it. Race in here. Let's see.
Bill said if they beat UMass, tomorrow, everything's free all night.
Free for as long as you can do it.
That was a lot of beer.
Yeah, what a kind guy.
So yeah, I think 6-6 is possible. It's not probable. You're probably going to lose Clemson and NC State.
Yeah,
but they're not unwinnable.
But
you can surprise someone and come up on someone.
We just did.
Exactly.
If you win 3, let's say this: UMass win, Miami, let's say win. We don't know that. Boston College win. If you win 3 of those games and you finish with 5 wins, given that you were 0-4, I don't really think our fan base would be that upset.
Because look, man, I'm telling you, when Syracuse got the ball with 4 minutes to go, I thought we were covered a 1-11 football team. You know what I mean? When Syracuse got the ball about to go down and score, that's a wrap. They're going to kick a game-winning field goal. They're going to be 0-5. They're going to beat UMass. They're going to be 1-11. That's how the season's going to go. And now they're about to have a 3-game winning streak. We hope, man, please beat UMass. Heaven to Betsy. I don't know what I would do if they didn't beat UMass.
They're going to beat UMass by a lot.
Yeah, so that'll be a 3-game winning streak. And now all of a sudden you start to feel pretty good. And if you get the 5 wins on a season that you thought you might be 1-11.
Correct.
Third way through
tend to take these things personally. So I think you might say something you regret at the press conference if they lose to UMass.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to look at Norvell. That's what I tell him. It's like, I can't even look at you.
So I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to ask this question staring over here.
Yeah, I'm going to turn my camera off.
Yeah,
because it's a Zoom interview still, but I can't look at you, man. I can't look at you if you beat. I had a hard time looking at him after Jacksonville State. That was a tough one.
He had no problem looking into your eyes for the diatribe.
That's right, man. And a lot of people say that I saved the season with that question. Yeah. I'm not saying I disagree with that assessment.
I am saying I disagree with that
assessment. I'm just saying.
I loved it. I was glad that it happened.
Yeah, it was good. It turned the season around.
Khalil Young, is that right? Am I seeing that correctly? Mm-hmm. Doing the right thing?
Khalil is a pillar.
He's rock solid.
Look at my man.
Read that question. What is he?
All right, to answer the question from Wake Up Warchant, no, I don't think 8 or 0 are top running backs. Not counting Dunn and Cook. He's talking about best running backs in Florida State history.
I missed this conversation you guys had. Yeah.
So he's listing his best running backs in Florida State history. It was without Dunn. The question was, if you take Dalvin Cook and Warrick Dunn out of the equation,
then who?
Then do Corbin or Ward I think it was actually Corbin.
No.
Is Corbin a top 5 running back?
Not even close. No.
Come on.
No.
He's not that much worse than like Travis Minor. Who's your top 5?
He's not.
So I said Ampley.
So you said Ampley, Greg Jones, Edgar Bennett.
Greg Allen. I didn't say Edgar Bennett. Edgar Bennett was a fullback more than a tailback.
He's a special player, though.
Leon Washington's in there.
Sammy Smith, Leon Washington.
Chris Thompson, Sammy Smith. But
we can go on and on.
But remember now, my point was, if you put Corbin on one of those 90s teams,
sure,
he doesn't look out of place.
Numbers.
But he wouldn't have looked out of place.
No, you know what I mean? Right.
I think he could have played on those teams on that
level.
Some of
those guys were transcendent talents.
Yeah. So
where would you like, just out of curiosity,
okay,
because I'm not placing him in the top 5, so don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Where would you put Sean Jackson?
I think they're better than Sean Jackson. Not a huge fan of Sean Jackson. The reason the Notre Dame game was close, or they lost that game, is because they just didn't get work done the ball.
Okay, so I'm in agreement with you that I wasn't a huge fan of Sean Jackson, but I don't think he's appreciably worse than, say, Jayshon Corbin is my
Sure, but again, that's my point, is that like Corbin would have fit in. Wait, I got loud. Got loud in here. A little echo. Got a little echo. Altadena Middle School.
I do think Sean was a nice player. Where are you putting Greg Jones?
Yeah, he's one too. You worry about his career too, because it got that ACL injury kind of derailed him. He still got the hit on Dexter Reed, an all-time great. But Khalil's actual question is, who are the top wide receivers, not counting P-Dub and Rashad Green? Who are your top 5 Florida State wide receivers of all time?
So, obviously there's some guys that came before me, so I never got to see Fred Biletnikoff and guys like that, okay? So I can't – I'm just going to give you guys that I saw.
Okay.
Dawsey was an awesome receiver, by the way.
He was a great college receiver.
He was a great college. Hassan Jones was a beast, by the way. Hassan Jones.
Yeah, he can play.
Give you some
Ouija Thompson?
No, I'm not going Ouija, but
he played with the Steelers?
He did. I loved Hassan a lot.
Rod Owens?
No.
Okay. I think Javon Walker, from his pro career, he was never 100% healthy at Florida State.
Yeah.
He really had that bad ankle injury.
He's not going to make the list because of that.
I mean, Anquan's on there.
Anquan Bolden was great, but Snoop Minnis has got to be on the list. Snoop was a great player. Probably
Keyshawn and Pokey, or do they round out your top 5?
Not going to make it. They're just scratching the surface.
They're right. We'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe Malik McClain can be one of those guys.
No, probably not. Probably
he could
not.
be. You don't never know.
I'll give you another one. Never really got to see him in a game, but I'm told, certainly in practice, that Randy Moss guy was something pretty special.
I think he did all right. He counts, right?
Might have worked out all right. He was a Nole for a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Did I tell you that I had a conversation with Cannell? This was 12 years ago. This was before
I've had this conversation with Cannell
at the ACC Media Days, before Cannell was like what he is now. He was trying to get a foothold in the business.
Theorist?
Well, before he was getting a foothold in the business, and he was an ESPN radio host, he was still trying to get in. And we just talked about Randy Moss, and he's like, look, man, he goes, I went to Coach Bowden at the end of August and is like, you have to play him. Why aren't you playing him? And he's like, well, we made a deal that if he got in any kind of trouble, he'd have to redshirt a year. And he's like, and Danny was like, yeah, I know, but he needs to be on the field. And it didn't work out. Randy Moss was not on the field, but which was good news for Andre Cooper. Oh, Coop Dog. And E.G. Green was, by the way, a very good college
player.
Receiver.
Not Randy Moss.
He wasn't. Well, who is? Literally, who is? Nobody.
Correct.
That's it.
One of the great mistakes of all time.
It's an incredible mistake. Overweed.
Which is legal now.
So you got to think of, so he plays in 95 and 96, which he would have. They win those championships easily.
Yeah, they would have gone.
I mean, imagine having Randy Moss on one side and Peter Warwick on the other.
I have. It's unguardable.
And you got Warwick done in the backfield.
It's unguardable. Those are ass kickings every Saturday against anybody.
The 95 offense averaged like 50 a game anyway.
No,
imagine throwing Randy Moss into that.
I lamented it for years.
I still lament it.
I think about it all the time.
It's like the 2012 NC State game.
So think about this. 96 wouldn't have happened. Florida State would have crushed Florida.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a 7-point game. It would have been a 20-point game.
Yeah, no. I mean, all of that. There's no rematch. Florida's not back in that game.
Thad Busby probably would have won the Heisman.
Probably would have, to be honest with you.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
He's got 21 touchdowns just to one receiver. He's
really
great.
Hard to wrap your mind around. And if the societal standards had begun to shift at that, if they had, there's no way you'd kick that guy out for a joint. What are we doing? It's insane. Like I've said it before, I would have provided him all the joints he wanted.
I know you would have.
I'd have walked in and be like, here you go.
Randy, if this is what,
Randy.
just try
By the way, come see me tomorrow. There's 10 more.
Don't smoke them all at once.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm going to need you to
practice. Man, you got to practice some.
But maybe afterwards, if you
show up on Saturday, please.
Yeah, no, that still bothers me to this day. Rashad Green.
Well, he said without Rashad, not counting Rashad and P-Dub because those are the two. I would say also Kelvin, the last half of his last year is as dominant as a receiver they've had.
Yes. Okay, so you're talking about a dominant. You're talking about a
maybe even more than Peter Warrick.
A really short dominant stretch.
Yeah,
but
I would argue window.
Yeah, but that's not enough of a sample size.
I'm just saying that one little 6-game stretch is about as dominant as any receiver.
It was unbelievable because he had decided he was going to go make his money.
Yeah.
The oddity, though, I always felt bad for him because he clearly didn't. He doesn't love football. He never loved football. And sometimes you see that in guys.
Yeah.
They just don't love football. And football's hard. And when you fall out of love with the game, man, it's hard to show up to practice every day.
Playing for Jimbo Fisher is not fun.
Not fun.
If you're not a big football fan.
But and I'll give Fisher this, and we've done this a lot. We go back and relitigate things. Fisher never wavered in what he said about him. He would talk off the air as well. He'd be like, listen, when I get that kid to play, if I get him to play, you're going to see the best receiver in the country.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just got to get him to play. Like, it was hard. And I actually give Jameis a ton of credit for that because remember, he'd force the ball to him early in games to get him involved. He was like, I don't care if you're double team. Come on, Haas.
Yeah.
He had to let him know early that on any route, even if you're not the primary, I may come to you. And that would get him engaged. Yeah. So you'd see guys wide open, and Jameis would throw in the double to let him know, like, I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
So don't be like half-assing things. Let's run the route.
And then, that last, from starting really middle of October, he was just, that catch he made against Clemson, it doesn't really get talked about because the game was so lopsided.
Tom Wang standing right there to look at it.
That first catch he made in the end zone. Good night, man. You could have thought there's no way he got a foot down.
So my favorite part about that is if you look, so I always laugh because I can see Tom in the picture.
Yeah, his hips were above my head.
Yeah. The other part.
What is this?
With the cop next to you is looking at it too.
He was a South Carolina fan. He's like, stay down here as much. I hate these guys.
Yeah, he thought
you stay on the sideline as long as you want.
But I also I always pan up and look at the Clemson fans, and you can see that the mouths agape.
Yeah.
Sort of this, are you kidding me? That dude just went up and got that?
Because remember they were trying to set some sort of Guinness record.
Noise record.
Yeah, noise record. And then literally he shuts them up in one play.
I was down on the field before the offense took the field, and I was standing where I shouldn't have been. And Jameis goes over to the offense in the huddle before they go out to the field. And after the fumble. Yes. Yeah. And I don't want to get Jameis in trouble, but it's football, so this wouldn't get him in trouble. He's like, let's shut these motherfuckers up. Yeah. And it's the first thing he said, and then they all laughed, and then took the field, and then that happened. But I remember I was like, that's awesome. It was talking to Jimbo after it was in 2014 in August, and we were talking about his team, just shooting the shit off the record, I guess. We were walking away from practice, and I remember bringing up Benjamin because he lost Jernigan too. And I'm like, I was like, settle an argument for me. Who's the bigger loss, Jernigan or Benjamin? And he goes, fuck, if I had Kelvin, I'd go to Vegas and bet everything I have on us winning the championship again. If I had Kelvin back. So I was like, okay. I was like, because Jernigan, he's like, no, Timmy, we couldn't practice with Timmy. Like, he'd even say, we got to hold Timmy out of practice so we can run shit. Yeah. But still, he's like, if I had Kelvin, because he knew, like, he had Rashad. Can't block him. Yeah. He had Rashad, but the other guys were like Bobo Wilson, Travis Rudolph. He wasn't Kelvin Benjamin. So nobody was. Yeah. You could have used him in 14. So those kinds of conversations are always funny. Like when you get a coach off the record and he relaxes and talks to you honestly about personnel. Yeah. He said a lot of things to me about Jameis before Jameis ever threw a pass for us. But the guy that he would always talk about, and Tom knows this, he's heard all the tapes. Like, he loved LaMarcus right off the bat. He was like, LaMarcus sets the tone. LaMarcus Joyner? Yeah. He loved him because he was a workout phenomenon. Like, he put in everything. Not LaMarcus Brutus. No, not LaMarcus Brutus. That's crazy. They've had two LaMarcuses. Yeah, but LaMarcus Joyner could play. So, Brutus was all right his last year.
Okay.
LaMarcus could play his last year. Yeah, he was important.
He was a good player on that team.
But Joyner, they'd have to kick him out of the gym. Yeah. Quite literally, they'd have to be like, leave. You've been here for 3 hours. I need you to leave. There's no more you can do. And I love this story about LaMarcus Joyner. He would do 20 pull-ups. Pull-ups are hard. Right. For most people. Most people, right? Not me, but most people. But pull-ups are really hard, right? LaMarcus would do them with weight on, and he'd knock out like 25. And then he would rest very briefly and then do more. Yeah. That's insane. Like, a pull-up is a son of a bitch to do. Some people are like that. Like that. I've heard stories about, like, they're just built differently. They're wired differently. Like Dennis Rodman would play a full game and play 40 minutes and have 26 rebounds. And go run on the treadmill for 30 minutes after the game at full speed. Yeah, it's what's the matter with you? Cocaine. Yeah,
Probably. I mean, it has to be something.
Typically the problem, I think there. It's a little bit of cocaine.
Yeah, it just gets you going. You just I got to get this out. I got to get this out.
It seems that way for me. I think that's what he was doing. Yeah.
Got a couple of housekeeping notes. Got a question from the boards from BC Noles, who says, Jeff, since you like Guinness, and we know that you do, what would it take to see you and Corey do an Irish car bomb this season? What would need to happen this season for you guys to do?
I'll do one right now if you want.
No, really? No. That's not. It's not that's happened.
It's
but it's got to be something special.
You want to do one?
No, I'm not quite sure what it is.
I tried.
I'll do it. It's where you drop the shot inside the Guinness.
That's
right?
correct. It curdles. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's delicious. You'll love it.
If they beat Clemson or Florida or NC State, one of those three.
Oh, well, you're trying to do a car bomb. That's outstanding.
Well, you just got to be one of those three. I'll do a car bomb. But you got to remind me, I'm not going to remember myself. But
if they beat Clemson that next Friday, then you guys are doing car bombs when
before
NC State's in town.
game.
I'm in.
I'll do nothing but car bombs.
Let's go. It's several.
And then a second thing for you guys. That round was sent to you by Pillars, by Eric and Shane. I sent you the round. So
thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Eric's there sitting over that way tonight.
Oh, he's in the house, man.
Thank you very much. Go Noles. Yeah, people are starting to get here. All right.
Yeah, man, we bring them in. We bring them in. That's
Friday?
correct. Well, once they heard that everything was on the house for the rest of the night, they make.
I think
they're making their pilgrimage over here.
We're up to 62 walk-ins after that point. After that, about 62 walk-ins.
It's going to be not a great night for Bill at Corner Pocket, but it's going to be great if you guys get here.
See, my man knows. Lewis knows they're delicious.
I mean, I've had one. I'm almost sure. What's the shot in it? Is it Jameson?
J-Mo.
Jameson?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's fine with me.
Lord.
That's no good.
Yeah, I'll do it for if they beat Clemson. I'll do it. Any of those games, the next home game, I'll do it. I don't know what we do for Florida. I guess we do it before the bowl. If they beat Florida, they're going to a bowl. We can do as many car bombs as we want.
Car bombs. We'll do whatever your requests are.
We'll do real
There's
car
also
bombs.
Bailey's too in there, right? It's the Bailey's. It's Bailey's, not J-Mo, right?
J-Mo, it's Bailey's, isn't it?
Yeah, well, whatever it is. It's
doesn't
gross,
matter.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Cheers, fellas. Go Noles. Thank you, Wesley. Cheers to you. Take a little sip for you.
How's that Corona going down, big guy?
Yeah, you can tell I'm starting the night off light.
I just say that's not really your speed.
Yeah, it's usually
like
not
your speed.
Well, man, I have to pace myself. It's early in the evening.
Yeah, and you got a noon game tomorrow, so you don't want to be too
I got a
crazy.
pregame show to do at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
With Tom Lang. We're going to do that tomorrow. Don't forget to watch on Warchant TV, 9 to 11, opposite College Game Day.
What do you think the crowd will be like, assuming they win tomorrow, and let's just say lose at Clemson but keep it close? What do you think the crowd will be like for NC State Miami?
I think it'll be good.
I do too.
Yeah, because I think they'll sense that. I mean, look, that NC State game is a winnable game. I'm picking NC State. They're a better team than Florida State, obviously.
You don't know what the number is yet.
Blown out. But I'm saying, like, I would think fans know they need to be here to help this team in that situation. And then Miami, the sense is that you're going to beat Miami.
And don't you think the way they played against Carolina would warrant people getting more excited about what they saw and like, okay, I'm going to go. This team's a little bit more likable than what we're used to.
Team.
Yeah. Let's go see what they got. You know, as long as you take care of business tomorrow and look good, or at least sort of good, you'll be 3-4. You'll either be 4-4 or 3-5, but you're coming back for two winnable home games.
Don't let them tickle the idea of going to a bowl. I mean, then you will see true excitement.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Man.
Win this game. God forbid you beat Clemson. You'd have a sellout against NC State.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah, it's a big game,
If you upset Clemson?
Yeah.
Would this be the most celebrated non-major bowl in Florida State history? Or at least since like the Cigar Bowl that they went to, the first bowl that they were at.
Right.
You were at the Cigar Bowl. It was against Wofford, I think, right?
Missed that one.
Oh, did you? Okay. The non-major?
Yeah. So, you take out, you can even define the Gator Bowl back in the day or the Peach Bowl or whatever.
I would say like the only one that comes to mind is like the 2010 the South Carolina game, Jimbo's first year, and people are excited about that. The Chick-fil-A Bowl. It'll always be the Peach Bowl to me, but the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
09?
That
was 09?
That was 10.
10.
That was probably the one I would think. Because where this team was, like I said, I thought they were going to be 1-11. I thought I was coming to 1-11 football team. So, they're in a bowl.
Yeah, it always has to do with expectations, right? I mean, when you're sitting there, as I like to say, bereft of hope.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you have an opportunity to go to a bowl game. Yeah, I mean we would celebrate a bowl after your start 0-4 with a loss to Jacksonville
and
State.
you're in a 30-30 game with Syracuse.
And you've been as bad as we've been for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tell you, if that happened, I would celebrate whatever that bowl. We were talking about this the other day. Let's go to Shreveport and rock.
Dude, I would
baby.
go anywhere. I'd love
in.
to go to Shreveport. I would give anything to be in Shreveport.
Not
this
even
December.
joking around, though. Really, you'd be very proud. I mean, like, as a Florida State fan, you'd be very proud.
Yeah.
Because it would have shown there would have been proof of a willingness to stick through thick and thin, truly, and that you would see a level of growth at that point that gets you so pumped about the next year.
Yeah.
So, because right now you can feel there's waning support for Dan Mullen at Florida.
Yeah.
There's obviously virtually zero support down in Miami.
It's waned to death.
Waning, to
it's
say the
waned,
least.
it's
Yeah.
waned off the scale.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you're like, we have the most momentum in the state. Where did that? How'd that happen? Like all of a sudden you'd start to think that way because we've watched this happen with other. Like when you're really good, when Florida State's dominant, you're always protecting. You're always guarding what you have. You have this ability to just dominate. You want to win as many championships as you can because you know the window is small.
Yeah.
And when you see evidence that somebody's turning it around, in particular your rival, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Shit, this is happening. I can see it. You can see it. Right now, people have been watching us, and they're like, whatever. These guys are spinning their wheels. They're not doing anything. If all of a sudden you're 6-6, you're like, they got a little something going.
Or even 5-7. Like I guess there's still a chance they could go to a bowl at 5-7. But if they're 5-7, that means they finish going 5-3 after starting out 0-4. And one of those wins will be a good win against a good team.
Guaranteed.
And Carolina's a bowl team. So I don't know what Syracuse is. They might be a bowl team too. But you'll have at least a couple of pretty decent wins going into next season. Yeah, I do think you ride some momentum there if you can do that.
I think at that point, man, the expectations, fairly or not, for the following season, for next year, would be off the charts.
Yeah, you need Jermaine Johnson to find a way to come back. That would help. You got to hit the portal. You'll hit the portal again. And I think what's happened, weirdly, because there have been some busts in that portal. Brandon Moore,
there's a ton of them.
That's just what happens.
Go on and on, yeah.
But Parchment, I would say right now, hasn't really lived up to what you hoped it'd be. But Jermaine Johnson left an incredible defense and has made himself some real money. Like, I think he's made himself some real money. I think he's in a couple of mock drafts in the first round right now, which he wouldn't have been sniffing that if he was at Georgia because he'd be playing half the snaps.
Yeah.
So, and he was thought of just to be a one type of defensive end, just to rush in. But he's second to the team in tackles.
By the way,
the team in tackles.
It's an amazing compliment to Kirby Smart in Georgia that kid couldn't find time.
It's
I mean, that's
unbelievable.
how good their defense. Jermaine Johnson is a legitimate bad son
He's
of
a
bitch.
very
He's
good football
a beast.
player, man.
He plays the run well. Obviously, he can rush the passer.
Yeah.
He plays with tenacity, ferocity, focus. He's smart.
Yeah.
Dude, the fact he couldn't
And they're
get
like,
hard,
you can get on the field on third down.
That's
We'll
crazy.
have you for third down. It's like
that's how good
that's
that
how good
defense
that
is.
front, especially that front seven, is just loaded with dudes. But it's a good thing to sell on the portal. Is like, most people be like, why the hell would you leave Georgia to go to Florida State? Well, Jermaine Johnson made himself a lot of money by doing that. You can sell that now. You have a success story.
Yeah, there are success
You don't just
stories.
have to get guys from the Sun Belt Conference or guys that are not doing well at the FBS level at a big time school. Jermaine Johnson was playing. He was a big part of that team last year. And he still came here and made himself more money, so you got that to sell in the portal.
Carol thinks you're going to invite Mike Norvell to not only do a car bomb shot with us, Irish car bomb shot with us, but also a champagne party.
If he can get to if he can win one of those games, yeah, I would throw champagne on him.
Do you think Mike would do a champagne party and a shot with us?
If they got to a bowl, if they went 6-6,
You think he would?
yes.
I mean, it's kind of a weird look, but I would add, hey, Mike, if you're listening, we're good
If
about
he's
doing.
listening, he watches
Let's do a
this.
shot together, buddy.
We know you watch, Mike. What else is he doing on a Friday before a game but watching the happy hour?
I've never seen Mike drink. I don't know if he drinks.
Well, we'll make him drink. Be like
I don't know if he does. I was at his house, and I mean that for the spring thing. He wasn't drinking there, but how could he? He had to be the host. So
he can still be here, though, even if we're just getting drunk and getting crazy. He can
it's
be
not
here.
as fun. I want him to have a
You want
shot.
him to
I want
partake?
him to partake.
Yeah, we'll give him a.
I
Irish.
think I'm just guessing here. Just a guess based on personalities. I feel like Dillingham and Fuller would do a shot with us. I feel like they would.
I think they'd hang out all night with us.
I think they might. I think they would do a shot with us.
Fuller's from Boston. Dillingham's like 19. He would do. They would be here
We'd
forever
have
with
to
us.
tell Dillingham, okay, we got to
Yeah, man, come on, man. You got to Uber number one.
What is a champagne party? Is it like a
Just
black
drinking
tie
it.
affair?
No.
think
She's
it's just
referencing
'cause I
him pouring the
dumped the
champagne
champagne
all
over my face.
So that is now known as the champagne party. All right, that's cool.
when I get it all in my eyes. And just dump
By
it
the
on
way,
myself.
my favorite part of that is just no regard for your own health, just eyes wide open as you.
Well, I'd never done it before. I had to make sure it was getting on my forehead.
What are we doing?
And here we are. Here we are about to win a third game in a row, we hope.
Third in a row, and then there's a glimmer of hope, just a smidge of belief.
Oh, here it is. That's funny.
yeah, there it is. There it is. My favorite part is Ira's face.
Yeah, I didn't think that was coming. Aslan was legitimately mad because I had popped it before the video started. I didn't know it was going to pop. It was a twist off, and I didn't know twist offs pop. I've never done champagne. I'm not a champagne guy.
You don't drink mimosas?
No,
they're delicious.
On, I look like a mimosa drinker.
You do.
Thank you.
You absolutely do. Yeah, you 100%.
Appreciate that. It was rhetorical. Of course I do. But I tried when I twisted it and it popped, and Aslan's like, "Great, man. Now we don't even get on video. Let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just get this over with." And so that's why I did it, to at least utilize the champagne as much as I could to get a reaction out of Aslan, and he stopped recording. But yeah, there it is. It doesn't feel good when it gets in your eyes.
You're right. Don't sleep on Odell. I bet he pours his straight, no chaser.
Yeah.
That's what Smoke wrote.
Yeah.
I'm just quoting him here. But
it would be cool to, like, if they got 6-6, it'd be cool to, like, yeah, we could take them up here for a corner pocket visit, the coaching staff, right? Gene will pay for that.
Hold on. I want to answer this question because, see, people hear what they want to hear. R writes, slow your roll, Jeff, for next year. Still will. I'm saying we're not going to be very good next year. I said, unfortunately, that the expectations would be sky high if this team makes a bowl.
Yeah.
They are losing a lot of important players this year. The transfer portal, you correctly pointed out, is going to have to be accessed, I think, considerably for this team to have legitimate back-to-back type.
What they're losing, really all they're losing, is those two defensive ends, but those are huge losses.
Those are really good players.
Those are
one of them is the best player on your team.
And the other one might be the second best on your defense.
Yes.
He's in the top three at least.
Yeah,
Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson were great finds in the portal. They were great signs. That's why I'm saying you got to go hit that again. You might not get a Jermaine Johnson, but you got to go get some guys that can play.
Yeah, so my point is you're losing a lot.
But
losing those two guys is devastating.
But let's see what the offense looks like these last 6 games. Because if it finds itself and is averaging 30 a game against these teams, you bring literally everyone back. Everyone.
Yeah, and you can add to it because you need to bring in some receivers from the portal.
Yeah,
This receiving core is ass.
Well, and Travis Hunter, you need to throw some wide receiver screens to Travis Hunter, too.
Yeah. They've got to go get some kids that can play. You have some projects here, but I want a bona fide starting wide receiver in the ACC.
So let's say Travis Hunter comes here. We're not about to say that. Travis Hunter's here. He's coming.
Oh, happy days.
He's coming, and you got both your running backs coming back and your quarterback. How much do you play Travis Hunter on defense, and how much do you play him on offense?
Oh, he's going both ways.
He definitely is, but is it 20 and 20? Is it 50 and 20? Is it split equally?
You got to gauge what his body can handle when he gets here. And, obviously, he's coming off an injury, so we'll see. He projects to be just fine. But I would want to see, what's his body composition? How thick is he? I'm looking from afar. I don't know how much he can handle as a true freshman.
Right.
But, he's a freak of an athlete.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing the envelope.
And I also think he's the kind of guy that he's going to be the face of the program. Literally, like him and Jordan Travis next year will be the face of the program going into 2022. And it would be you have to play him both ways. You can't just keep somebody like that on defense. He is too dynamic on offense with the ball in his hands to just be like, okay, we're just going to play him on defense or maybe return kicks.
I agree with David here, by the way. I've been saying it for a few weeks now. I'd like to move Travis J to wide receiver.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's a dynamic athlete. He's had to deal with some knee injury problems, and I think the fans oftentimes they hear us talk about Travis J glowingly, and then they're like, well, he doesn't produce. Why do you guys keep talking about him? And it's fair to say he doesn't produce. But if you see him and you know what he is athletically, you realize that you cannot waste that guy's talent.
Right.
He's got to be involved in some way. And I think receiver would be the best way for it.
And you think about, so you saw a little bit of what he can do on that kick return against Carolina. Like, look, it's a 40-yarder. It wasn't 100 yards. But for Florida State this year, that was a monumental return.
Felt like a 50-yard, 60-yard return.
But also, he's caught 2 Hail Marys. Like, he goes up and gets the ball. Like, he's got some, as I like to say, ball skills.
Yeah,
he's got some ball skills, and that's big when it comes to if you're fast and big and have ball skills. Those are good traits to have as a wide receiver. Try that. Like, he's not making an impact on defense like you need. You don't have a ton of athletes like him.
I felt bad for that situation's a unique situation. There's just a lot to get into with that. I just hope we don't end up losing him before he ever has a chance to really do something, because he's a very good player. He's had some off the field things. I'm not talking about crimes or anything like that. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm saying there's just stuff he has to deal with in his life that's kind of difficult, and I think it's hindered his ability to grow here.
But he is. You don't have a ton of freak athletes on this team. I feel like he's one of them. Get the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? And I agree with you.
We don't have that many.
You got Jordan Travis Hunter, and Travis J on offense. You kidding me? Might average 50 a game. Well, you don't need a Jermaine Johnson.
You are going to need probably another.
Duquesne is going to be in trouble.
You're going to need another offensive lineman in the portal.
Yeah. Well, look, man, but that's the reality. That's what I'm talking about with Jermaine Johnson. He and Dylan Gibbons, for that matter. Like, Dylan Gibbons couldn't play at Notre Dame. He started every game and been one of their best linemen. Again, these are things you sell to the other, and Keir Thomas and Jamie Robinson. Like, those were hits.
Keep going, buddy.
But those were hits. So you can sell that to the other guys in the portal. Like, look how much money we made for Jermaine Johnson. Look how Keir Thomas adapted.
The Jermaine Johnson one's important because Jermaine will advocate for you. He'll advocate for you. He's a guy that could have gone anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And yet he chose Florida State, and it was because of Mike Norvell, and he said that expressly.
But he didn't leave UAB. You know what I mean? He didn't leave, Ohio or Akron. He left the number one team in the country.
Right. And so he's a guy that I think could advocate for you, talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff, talk about why he came here, knowing that they weren't going to win more than, say, at best 7 games. So, that's a guy that could do that for you. And I think, by the way, a lot of those guys, we talk about that buy-in, Keir Thomas will advocate for you. I mean, you got some guys that would. So I think it's important. We got another one here? Hey, Jeff, I took your suggestion this week when I was in town and swung by Trader Joe's for some apricots. They're elite, but now I have chronic gas. Here's the problem, Nathaniel. I can't help myself. I'll eat bags of those things, and then nobody sees me for hours. It's just
do apricots run through you?
They're delicious.
Oh, that's what they do. I don't eat apricots.
Yeah. Well, you would love the ones at Trader Joe's. They're Turkish.
Apparently.
They're incredible.
Okay, good.
The Turkish apricots are where it's at.
We should get them to sponsor.
It's weird. Like, we're just talking about apricots today, and I feel like we're talking about prison. It's like when I said they're Turkish.
Yeah. You've never been in a Turkish prison?
Midnight Run. It's weird. It's like they're just delicious. There's something about them.
Are they a fruit?
You've had an apricot before.
I don't feel like I have.
Oh, my God.
I lost.
You sheltered man.
4th grade spelling bee. I lost on the word apricot. I thought there were 2 P's in it.
And you held it against apricots all your life?
I never wanted to eat one afterwards.
Just because your ass couldn't spell?
I couldn't spell apricot. I thought it seems like apricot would be 2 P's, but it was 1. I lost. I was the heavy favorite going in, too.
Blame the educational system. Don't blame the apricot.
It was Georgia. What are you going to do? Georgia Public Schools. What are you going to do? Lucky I even knew the A.
All right. We're winding down. It's time for us to say goodbye. I'm punctual.
Is that it? Are we done?
It's 6 o'clock. It's time to ride.
Tom, are we done?
You're done in 3, 2. You're done.
All right. Thanks to everybody on the chat here from the Warchant Happy Hour. Thanks to everybody here at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Thanks to Bill to make everything on the house for the next 6 hours.
Yeah. Gator Kirk wants you to know before you leave that you're very sheltered.
Because of the apricots?
Well, yeah, and he's not sure that you've ever eaten a vegetable.
I've eaten vegetables.
You do?
Is apricot a vegetable?
No.
Okay.
Have you eaten a vegetable?
Yeah, I eat spinach. I love spinach.
I love spinach.
Yeah.
Favorite vegetable, spinach?
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Like the sauteed spinach? Oh,
so
with a good steak or something?
Oh, forget about it.
As good as it is.
I'll saute the hell out of some spinach.
Yeah. But that's
it.
That's the only real vegetable I'll eat.
Asparagus is good.
I'll eat asparagus too.
You have never had my asparagus.
That's a weird thing to say. Good night. Can we end this?
Oh, we got to go.
We done?
All right. Goodbye, everybody. We love you.